Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News, our weekly crypto news with Michael. We're going to be diving into all the top headlines as always. And Michael, you've been pumping out all that alpha still on the platform, but altcoins have been struggling a little bit, which we have been expecting some weakness, but still expecting more strength to come later on. We'll get into all of that, but at the moment there's a lot of fear around.
Yeah, it's been a hard it's been a hard time to be a crypto investor the last couple of weeks. I mean, this is all stuff that you especially flagged in our group like quite some time. So we're going to have some short-term volatility. I still am not convinced that like we won't see like a relief rally or some more upside into later December, early January. But yeah, we were pretty vocally cautioning everybody about making sure you're taking some chips off the table coming into this period and been some really beat up coins. Yeah, even ETH, like that 17% in the last week. Like it's been Solana 20% in the last week. Like so, there's been some carnage out there.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I posted in the group probably 2 weeks ago now. Make sure you're taking profits, particularly on altcoins, and we've been saying it every week on this show for the past few months. And if you've been averaging out, you've got some decent prices and should be up. But this is kind of another flush out. I think we're expecting, as long as things still stay risk on with all our metrics. Hopefully more bullishness start of next year, but this period now and into the end of financial year, depending on where you are in America, and that people take time off over Christmas and that type of thing. So thinner trading volumes then as well.
Yeah, and this one here is the main one, I guess, is the fear and greed index. Like we're almost bordering on extreme fear right now. So this is just the absolute capitulation of people. Um, and I know it's really hard when you're in this moment, but it's like trying to train yourself. Like I'm in my third cycle now, and it's still very hard to do. Like where you're trying to buy dips and sell tops or sell pumps. Like your brain just doesn't compute that way, but it's the way that the time and time tested strategy of being able to get the entries that you're looking for is when things are ripping, we're all begging for a 101k Bitcoin.
Yeah, and we went into a bit more detail with all this last night with our VIP call, but this is crazy to see fear at these levels near a top for Bitcoin and some of the sentiment, people just sick of crypto and the direction it's going in that on Twitter. Very, very unusual stuff to see with prices this high for Bitcoin.
Peak five especially, and like this was a really good article this week here that we found that like the distress is real, and so this is sort of the moment now where the base is starting to fall out a little bit and the coins are changing hands. um and so like Bitcoin is, it's not anything catastrophic at this stage. I mean, we're only 20-ish% off of our all-time high. It's not like we've had a complete flush, but we're in a whole new world now where this is exactly trading like it's been, a Nasdaq stock or a tech stock. And this article is really great because it talked about how like this is the real changing hands of like a lot of Bitcoin. Now a lot of it's just being gobbled up by institutions and ETFs. Effectively, now a lot of long-term holders are thinking, okay, yep, no, I've made my money. I'm 100k, I'm out. So it really is like a sort of an inflection point a little bit for Bitcoin. And like, wow, there's a real shift happening right now.
Yeah, definitely a rotation from those that are just trading the traditional 4 year cycle to TradFi world is what we're seeing for sure.
This was, I guess, another one. Like, so Ripple stablecoin is actually starting to make some headway here with like 100 billion milestone, and like I think that they operate very much like a tech company. Like I know that this is crypto, but when you look at like the difference between Bitcoin or even Ethereum, like there's an Ethereum foundation and then there's a few companies around Ethereum, but nothing like what the Ripple company is doing. Mergers and acquisitions, trying to buy up the industry a little bit, and I think that they're going to be successful. Like XRP holders are going to do quite well. But yeah, they've
Yeah,
hit some
I mean,
milestones here.
last week we kind of announced Solana being used for some stablecoin payments. We've got PayPal that seems to have taken off, Ethereum forks, even up Avalanche, and every time we seem to write off Ripple a little bit and go, geez, it all looks like it's heading in another direction, they seem to come out with another news cycle. So as we've said, it's not a winner take all market, but yeah.
100%. Another one of my favorites though, Arthur Hayes. Like he's been around everywhere the last couple of weeks, and um, really shilling the Zcash bags at the moment. And we've seen a huge pump from Zcash this week. And again, another one that you've specifically been flagging for months now is privacy coins. Um, and here you go, on cue, privacy coins having their moment.
Yeah, but the one thing I want people to realize here is that I spoke about how Monero's probably the best privacy coin, but I don't think that's going to really pump because it's not widely listed on a lot of exchanges anymore because of regulations, and so all the big boys seem to be pumping Zcash, which isn't actually that private. It's got optional transaction shielding. But if you want to withdraw from an exchange to your own wallet, you can't use that privacy shielded feature. So it's kind of like a claims to be a privacy coin. All the big boys are tracking it. Coinbase like it. Grayscale have got their fund. So this is kind of like the privacy narrative play, even though it's not the one I would use if you're trying to be private online.
Yeah, I think I think when you get into the world of crypto, like I'm almost at the point now where if I'm coming in and out of a centralized exchange from dollars to crypto, I'm almost only doing that from a stable coin play. Dollars into stable coin and then stable coins into whatever it is that I'm doing in DeFi or whatever. You can go to a decentralized exchange and swap your stable coins for other tokens, but I think I'm trying to keep my life as complicated free or complication free as possible. And there's really only need now to come in and out of stable coins when you're coming in and out of fiat currencies.
Yeah.
All right, so Balancer got hacked. Shout out to anyone who was affected by this, but they're just another one. This is on cue, um, to be expected in crypto, but this was a decent one because Balance is a pretty seasoned protocol. It's been around for quite some time, and so this was a pretty gnarly event for Balancer this week.
And probably adds to that selling off we're seeing in the ETH ecosystem today as well. These things never help.
Yeah, no. This was a very interesting account here, MKX Network. This was a really cool thread which talked a little bit about revenues on like sort of for H1 of 2025 and where all of the money is being derived. And fees and generally on-chain fees are doing well, but not like they've done in 2021, where you had Ethereum gas fees at like $100 a transaction. Well, right now, ETH gas is super cheap still. Um, but where have all the fees being generated? Well, it's mostly all coming still from DeFi. 63% is all still coming from DeFi protocols. And, wallets being the next big one. And I know specifically with like a lot of the VC circuit and VCs that I've been talking to, they don't accept gas fees now as a revenue model for any blockchain. Like no one's tracking that because they're all going to trend towards zero. And more chains are just going to create more and more applications that are almost gasless or gas free or some sort of new model. So it's a marked shift about maybe why Ethereum struggled so much earlier in this cycle because the narrative around revenue generation is not now transaction fees. It's not where the infrastructure layer is making money anymore.
Yeah, so good for maybe a new project like Vultisig that's relying on wallet infrastructure and fees, and probably bad for like all these other proof of stake coins long term. It's just so hard to have that model.
Mm. Um, so the institutional layer now is Ethereum, and I think what we found is something like 70% of all RWA assets and stablecoins are still built on Ethereum. And so this is a new website, institutions.ethereum.org. You can really see that Ethereum has now become decentralized coin. And like Solana and XRP are all having their time in the sun, but 70% of everything is still being built out on Ethereum or its L2s. And so just another website. I'm not sure which organizations put it out, whether it was the foundation or not, but really targeting institutional adoption of Ethereum. Um, Going along with that vein, so Consensus is one of the big, OG Ethereum infrastructure companies, and Joe Lubin is a co-founder of Ethereum. They're looking to IPO, and for those that don't know, Consensus makes MetaMask. They also make Infura, and Infura is like vital infrastructure, how a wallet actually connects to the blockchain. It's almost like the worst centralized point of failure inside the Ethereum ecosystem. They also build that. They're looking to IPO. They're going to make squillions of dollars. And again, it's just the institutionalization of infrastructure, crypto infrastructure companies as it becomes more merged with traditional finance. Um, yeah. I want to have a little bit of a moment here, not a brag, but just a general, moment. We actually showed this application off on this show maybe 8 weeks ago or something like that. This is caffeine.ai. And this is like a chat GPT, but you can go and make your own applications. And so this is built on the internet computer, ICP. It's pumped like 45% this week. I actually heard on the grapevine that there's been mass layoffs at the Definity company because they've just gone all in on this and they're not caring about anything else to do with the ICP protocol. But the token ripped over 40% this week. And we showed this app when it was still in beta 4 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago. But essentially, yeah, you can go and chuck in and say, build me a whatever website, and it will do it on chain on the internet computer. So um, the internet computer has been highly scrutinized for being too complicated or very um, you know, hard to figure out. But this has definitely obviously gotten some adoption this week, which is why the token price is ripped.
Yeah, it kind of feels like we've had a stall in that people being able to create the products that is needed in crypto, and maybe that bottleneck. Well, in the past, the bottleneck has definitely been able to afford good devs and get good devs that are the only ones that know how to build these types of products. So maybe this is something that brings back, privacy, decentralization, that cypherpunk attitude that I think crypto needs again, with everyday people being able to build out different products. So yeah.
Um, Lastly, next week I'm actually heading out to Argentina. I'm actually speaking on stage, on the main stage at the main Polkadot event, which is a side event for DevCon, the Ethereum conference. So Gavin is speaking, Gavin Wood, and then I'm actually on straight after him. And so excited to go get around it. Anyone that's in Argentina, ping us on X. I'm going to try and get back in time for the Aussie Crypto Con down in, I think Sydney or Melbourne. I haven't even checked where it is this year, but yeah, at the end of the month. So we'll see if I can get back in time. But Polkadot had a huge event yesterday, which they've actually traditionally always been an infrastructure layer where other chains could connect to, but they actually migrated everything off of their main chain onto a new chain yesterday, almost like the Ethereum merge that they did. Polkadot had their own version of that yesterday, where all 6 billion assets all merged onto a new chain called Polkadot Hub. It was traditionally called Asset Hub. And now they're prepping that you can actually build smart contracts in any language on the Polkadot chain. So whether you're Rust, Solidity, doesn't matter what language your smart contract is going to be, you're going to be able to build on Polkadot, where that's never happened before. If you're building with Polkadot, you would have your own chain and it would just connect to Polkadot. But now you can build on Polkadot. Anything from EVM, anything from Solana can just be copy pasted onto Polkadot shortly. But the merge happened yesterday. $5 billion of tokens went off without a hitch.
Awesome. Well, good luck at the conference. We'll try and work in some weekly crypto news or give us a recap of all that when you come back. But other than that, guys, head over to nuggetsnews.com.au. We can sign up for our free newsletter, all our research, or our VIP services. And if you haven't taken any profits, don't forget you can use Uptrade for all those OTC transactions, so you don't have any issues with banks. But otherwise, Michael, we'll chat to you again next week. Thanks, guys.